So, boom, boom, boom. What is up, everybody that happens to be checking this out? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming. Make sure you hit that like button and share this out so everybody can learn about these awesome people within the gaming community. But let's move forward. Today, we have a huge technology tinker that likes to bounce, or that used to bounce, between Europe and America growing up as a young child. Now, he's a father that's been gaming since a youngin', and now he finds himself regularly on prime time gaming with Mr. Boomstick XL while getting deeper in the world of content creation. Fresh off of the Gaming Circle podcast and on the reel with Everborn Saga, please welcome Mr. Q2 of the Steam Deck, K Asante. What up, brother K Asante? How's it going today, man?
That is a great intro, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate being invited to be on here with you. This is gonna be fun, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, let me go on ahead and start the episode like I usually do. Let me have you go on ahead and tell everybody your like social media and gaming platforms that you play for, so people can get a hold of you if they want a game or if they
Yeah,
got a question or podcast
yeah, no
work, yada
worries.
yada.
No worries. Yeah, it's basically TK, the number zero, ASANTE, TKO Asante everywhere. Xbox, PlayStation, even Switch. Well, not Switch. Switch is like a social security number thing. I never keep that in
Right.
my head. The Quest, the Oculus Quest, I do a lot of VR on PC, Steam. All those various sources. Any source that you potentially think there's gaming involved or content creation, you look up my name, you'll find me there, and I will always be available to chat. Questions or you just want to talk games. I'm always available. It's always fun to communicate with members of the community. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, my man. Fantastic. And thank you for presenting all that stuff. And yes, you are absolutely correct. Giving out that Switch thing is a lot of work, and it just doesn't sound right when you give it out.
It requires public shaming. Like as my podcast partner Everborn always says, whenever there's something's wrong, you need to publicly shame them as much as possible so they change that. So yes, anytime that question pops up, I need to publicly shame them. It's terrible, absolutely terrible.
Right? Like, why can't I just put in their name?
What you gave me an ID, right? A normal user ID that everyone else has. But in order to communicate with somebody, I got to give them my social. Like that's terrible, bro. That's just absolutely ridiculous. But
Absolutely,
yes, I also
absolutely.
play on Switch, so it's just hard to communicate and connect with people over Switch. The whole process is just a little sad to me. So
It's
I
a little
always
funky.
defer to the other platforms. But
Yeah, I didn't know that it was so bad until I got Super Smash Brothers, and
Yeah,
yeah, I got Super
ultimate
Smash
connection
Brothers,
game.
and I was like, man, like I remember playing this so much fun as a kid and whatnot. A lot of the things that we'd do is it'd be me and my cousin, and then we turn the other two bots into against us. It'd be 2v2, and we turn the like amount of stock like way up so we could play for a long time and just kind of figure out the game and
Yeah.
have fun and try to figure out how to play with each other. But on the Switch, like I think the way it is that you have to go like 1v1 like all the time.
Yeah, I don't
um
think you can do like player with player versus environment. At least I think
right.
you can do that locally, but I don't think you can do that online.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
can do
sure.
that locally for sure, but
Yeah.
online is where I was trying to do it because now I got a Switch and my cousin got a Switch, and we're trying to play like we used to back in the day, and it's just like 1v1, and it's like we don't want to do this. This is
Yeah.
really dull. This is boring.
We hear people talking about acquisitions here and there. Nintendo doesn't need new studios. They need technology. They need to buy a company that knows how to put like entities on the internet correctly and just move them forward because that's really holding them back, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They do not have a problem with games. They have no problem with
Yep.
their mascots or anything like that. They are
Yep.
pumping it out, and they're making hand over fist even with us complaining about them right now.
True, so true. Yep.
So absolutely, yeah, just pump up that technology a little bit. We want to see a little bit higher resolution frame rates, and also some
That's
better
right.
networking with people around
Yep.
the world. Like if you
There are
tie up those three
emulators that
things,
emulate place that Nintendo games that do a better job of network communication than the actual Nintendo itself, which is hilarious. There are software for emulation that humans created as a side project. Oh, nobody's getting paid for this. We're just doing this for fun, and it has better network connectivity than the actual Switch does, which is
that's bonkers.
unacceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, it is unacceptable. You can't be having somebody that isn't even competing against you
Indeed.
doing better. In certain aspects. So that's weird. But I gotta ask you, what are you playing right now, brother? Silly question. Silly question.
I'm playing like everyone else in this damn world, presumably Elden Ring right now. I'm many hours. I think 22 hours last I checked into Elden Ring right now, and I'm doing it kicking and screaming. Like I'm one of those non Soulsborne players, and it looks like what they've added, and that's not really exactly factual. Like I played the original Demon Souls. I played a bunch of them. I haven't finished all of them. I haven't finished most of them. I finished Bloodborne. I finished Sekiro, but most of them I haven't. Like for instance, the one that PlayStation remastered for PS5. I forget the name of it.
Demon
Demon
Souls?
Souls. Yeah, I bought it, but I really didn't put any time into it because I had already beaten the original version on PS3, and it's basically the same game, only nicer looking.
Yeah, the motivation just wasn't there.
Yeah, so the motivation, it's pretty. You can totally see it's pretty, but you know, long story short, I kind of what did they say? Some gamers what do they call it? Grazers. I'm more of a grazer. Unless a game really grabs me, I'll try this, I'll try that. That's why I love Game Pass so much. You could just go in and try a bunch of stuff, find the next thing you like. If you don't like it, you move on. That's just always been my mentality when it comes to gaming. I don't let it overstay its welcome. But for some reason, Elden Ring has got me. Well, I know why. It's because all my boys are playing it, and everybody has a question about it. Oh, did you try this thing? Have you been to this world? Have you done that? So it's kind of keeping the conversation moving. Yeah, you tried this weapon. I've been trying to get my guy to be able to do spells for a long time. I finally figured it out. I got the stupid rune thing. I bought it from the twins. And now it's about figuring out how to get the magic work because I have a bunch of magic spells. I've never done it. That's both the gift and the curse of this game, I think.
Oh, it definitely feels like a curse, especially when all your homies are out of the party, especially the ones that know and played the game for a while, and you're just like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to wait on this until I can get some information about it.
that is why, because I'm sure folks who've heard me around have heard me criticize this game. That's my criticism of the game. Not even the difficulty. Difficulty is what it is, right? You can figure it out. It is what it is. Eventually you'll figure it out. If the game is fun enough and you're engaged enough, you'll eventually get to the point in the game where you get past it. What's annoying to me still is bad UX design, bad decisions, like just stuff that's weird and not easily explainable. But still, even beyond all that, I'm still addicted, and I'm still 22 hours in, and I'm still playing, and I'm enjoying myself. So it is what it is.
Yeah, in a way, I feel like it gave you that classic old school kind of feel of video games, where it was just kind of like, here it is, good luck.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. But I think that's to its detriment a little bit, right? We're not in a vacuum anymore, right? You guys have created this moment-to-moment gameplay that is undeniable. Everyone can say that. It is undeniable. But Breath of the Wild exists. So does Forbidden West. So does a million other open worlds that also do RPG elements, that also, they may not have the FromSoft moment-to-moment combat down tight, like you guys do, right? So that's your claim to fame. But they do have the modernization of, hey, guess what? This is a potion. What does it do? It heals you. Hey, this is a co-op element. Guess what? You can use it to call your friends. Not a finger. What does the finger do? What is it about? It's like they took the language and just went, Get out of here with all that. We're gonna create our own thing. And it just, that part is problematic to me, but it's undeniable. The moment to moment is just undeniable. So people just frustrate their way through it, and talk about the bosses they've killed. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny how something as simple as your horse is kind of rough to find.
Bro.
Like,
Oh my God.
like I
Some
heard
people
you in
took 2
Everborn.
hours to find the damn horse.
I think I heard you in Everborn or somebody talking about how like
Uh-huh.
Boomstick just went and sat down somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and just like all of a
He
sudden he
was
had
in
a
it
horse.
for hours, right? He was playing, and he's not the only one. Mrs. Joanna Dark said the same thing. Playing for hours, because for those who aren't aware, the first side of grace, which is where you save, right? It gives you a cutscene. Second side of grace, you sit wherever it happens to be. Whichever second time you sit at the side of grace, you get your steed. But it makes you choose whether you want to sit at the second side of grace. If you choose not to, because you're just adventuring and you could be 2, 3, 4, 10 hours, however long you do before you die, you don't sit at the second side of grace, you will never see your steed. Such weird thoughts. Like, usually games will go, okay, they need to sit at the second site. So as soon as you get close, it forces you to sit, just so you have that cutscene out of the way. Now you got what you need, right? But these guys are like, well, if you don't remember to sit down again, we're just not going to give you your horse. You're just going to walk around for the next 5 hours without a horse. I'm just like, that makes no sense to me, man. It's just crazy. It is indicative of this game. It is both amazing and frustrating at the same time.
And it's just like you were saying just a moment ago. They have some moments where you're making decisions about other things that you obviously need. And I feel like it's trying, what it's trying to do is give you that nervousness of like, do I want to do this? Because I'm not sure where it's going to take me, especially some of the traps later on in the game, especially when you get into a harder area. You go to give somebody a hug and something crazy happens.
Oh, bro, that's already happened to me. Like in the beginning, before I started grinding, like I was early level. They're like, just stick to the weird zombie guys. Stick to the guys holding the torches. They're slow. You smack one, you get your points, you peace out, right? You don't have that much resources. You're not that strong. So it's all about sneaking and stabbing people in the back and all of this. Fine. I did it to the one wrong dude, and all of a sudden he turned into a huge bear and one hit kill. Boom, you were done. That's the game, right? You walk into a room and you're greeted by a crazy monster. You can't get out the room. You're done. You live and learn. But it is. I will give it credit that it is bringing back that what do they call it? The water cooler talk that we've lost since COVID has been a thing and all that. People have been disconnected for so long. This game kind of brings people together to have that water cooler conversation. Hey, what happened to you? What happened to me? That is the what makes this game succeed as much as it does. So even non-FromSoft players seem to be wanting to get into it, which is great.
Absolutely, yeah, and as I said earlier, I'm one of those people. I had no like I seen this game during, I think it was like E3 or something like that, and I was like, man, that looks really cool. And I looked into it and I was like, oh, it's gonna be one of those kind of games. Like, I don't know. And after seeing everybody get it, I tried to tell myself, don't build into this or don't fall into this FOMO, but I did, and I ain't even mad, to be honest. I ain't even mad. Yeah, I was gonna say, I ain't even
good, right?
Because I had it. I got it Monday, and I already put like 21 hours into that game, just crazy grinding. And I don't, and like I'm one of those people. If you don't catch my attention, like the first 5, 6 hours, I'm done. I will stop playing. I don't care if I just paid for you. If you are awful within the first 5 hours or so, and I just can't catch it, then you're in the backlog. I'm sorry.
Now, I can't promise I'll beat this game because people are 100 hours and something in, and many of them haven't even beaten. Some people have beaten the boss or something. I'm just going to keep, like I said, I'm a grazer. I'm going to keep playing until something takes my attention away. If I happen to beat it before that time, great. If not, I'm okay with putting 100 hours in and sitting it down. It won't make me feel bad in the slightest. I paid my money, and for that much time that I've played, I think I got what I wanted to get from it. So I'm okay not beating it, but so far it's great. I'm progressing through. I'm making good levels, and it's starting to finally open up for me. So it's great.
All right. Well, let's open up to the questions that I got listed out here.
Mm.
Um, I had mentioned at the very beginning of the show that you used to bounce back and forth to like Europe and
Mm-hmm.
America. I did a little bit of homework for myself because I wanted to just kind of know a little bit more about my guests, so it wasn't such a shock to me, or I say one thing but it's really another thing. So yeah, I had to do a little bit of research. But please tell me about like how you found yourself into gaming. Was it in America that you found yourself liking gaming, or was it overseas,
Yeah,
or
that's an interesting story. So I've always kind of spoken the language of tech. Technology has always kind of been something that has been interesting to me. Even when I was a very young, I'm an '80s baby. I was born in '80, so like I was right at the cusp, and I was born to like a non like lucrative family or something. So I was right at the cusp when analog was really like in its heyday. You know, I've lived in houses with black and white TVs, you know, back those days. And I've also, you know, in my earliest memories were going to the computer labs and seeing like, you know, the OG Wolfenstein screensavers. You know what I'm talking about? That OG life back in those days. So, you know, I've always kind of spoken the tech language. I've always been very interested in it, and so because of that, I have like uncles and aunts who kind of helped me through and like helped me build my first PC when I think I was like 10 or something like that. And this was like back when PC building was not easy. You know, it wasn't as plug and play as it is today. You could roast your whole thing by just touching the wrong thing. You know, that was the life I used to be about. So yeah, so it basically lent itself to gaming because obviously, you know, technology, it's on the cusp of technology, and the first thing people do when something new comes out is they make a game out of it, right? Like Pac-Man and Pong and all of that. You back in those days, even earlier, obviously, you know, when they built the machine that cost hundreds of millions of dollars, what did they do? They played Pong with it, right? So that's basically where it started for me. So I like both in Europe, I lived in the Netherlands for many years, both in the Netherlands where I had uncles that were helping me with tech and all that. And then I lived with my dad in the States, and he used to have like a brother word processor. And this is for the youngins out there. You used to not have Word and type it out. No, it was a typewriter, but it was a digital typewriter, which you typed your words first, you saw them there, you said, "Yep, I like them," and it instantly prints to the paper. So if you had mistakes to make, you could clean it up before it printed it. So it was kind of a stopgap to the word processor. It was an actual physical device rather than an application. And the only other thing it could do besides write words, write letters, is play Tetris. So like I used to play Tetris for like I think I was like oof, I must have been like 7, 8 years old. I used to play Tetris day and night and day. Anytime my dad was not around. So you know, I've always loved games, and why does that thing do what it does on the screen? You know, I've always kind of thought that way. So it's always been part of my life, basically.
all right, yeah, that's a fantastic answer for all that. That's your life. That's how you kind of grew up
Mm-hmm.
and got into gaming and whatnot. But at what point, like, how did it become like that important to you to where you're like deciding, years later down the line that you're gonna decide to start making content, and
Mm.
you're doing all this stuff now with Mr. Boomstick. You even do a little show that has nothing to do with gaming. That's about like movies and stuff like that on the
Yes.
real
Yeah.
with
Yep.
with Everborn. So
Mm-hmm.
like, tell me a little bit about like why you like content creating and why gaming is a big chunk
Sure.
of it.
Yeah. So like when it comes specifically to gaming, it, gaming and content creation kind of go hand in hand these days, and that's just probably because of the democratization of how you can put yourself out there. Right before, it used to be very difficult. You know, there was a big delineation between those who could and those who couldn't. And as technology obviously has brought all that very close together, and anybody can pick up a mic and speak, it's made it easier to transition from like just a conversation you have with friends to, hey, put a mic on. Like what happened with us and content creation, it was just Everborn and I are kindred spirits, right? We would communicate while playing games, and we would just be on the phone or be on a party chat for hours having these exact same arguments, the exact same conversations. So the question was, well, why don't you just turn on a camera? Why don't we turn on a mic and put it out there? It's like having conversations with your friends, right? It just so happens that you can now bring the community into that conversation as well. And gaming just sparks that, right? Like, unlike other gaming is like sports, right? There's a whole subset of folks out there who have podcasts on sports, about their various sports teams, about whether they're going to make it this year or not, whether this team is better than another team. Same exact thing, right? It just so happens that those of us that are gamers tend to speak about gaming more than anything else. And now, nowadays, that all these game environments are so lucrative and making so much money, it's becoming quite interesting to actually speak about the business of gaming rather than just the games themselves,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But before like Everborn or Boomstick, did
Mhm.
you do any content creation of your own?
No. Actually, it's funny. Well, all right. For a long time ago, right? You asked me what was that moment of gaming, right?
Right.
And when I was like, I think I was 15, 16 years old, I was still living in the Netherlands at the time. And I basically found my group. And my group, well, as I said, I was a bit of a tech guy even back then. So, and my mother, she worked hard, but we couldn't, a single mom, hard to provide everything the kids need. I had my brothers and all of this. So eventually, after some pleading, she got me a PlayStation 1, a PS1, right? This is the old school gray box, right?
Oh yeah.
I'd had consoles
Ridge
before
Racer.
then. Exactly. Ridge Racer came with that demo disc, right? And this is way before the internet. This is way before any of that stuff. So for a long time, and at that time also, we lived in a local area where you could rent CDs to play for a weekend or whatever, like just as if you would a Blockbuster Video or something like
Yeah,
that,
like a local audio
like a local
visuals
spot.
kind of
Exactly,
store. Yeah.
exactly. That's right. And and at that time, the only game they had was Mortal Kombat. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think it was Mortal Kombat 2 or Ultimate or something. I think it was Mortal Kombat Ultimate 3, where it had like all the roster of guys. So basically, we I brought that home one night and we just never stopped playing it.
Maybe it was Trilogy.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Yes, I remember the cover. I remember the whole the opening credits, and yeah, it was just all of them because we played 1 and 2 and 3 all on the NES and the SNES and all that. This was the PlayStation version, which was basically the culmination of all the characters.
Right.
And yeah, so a buddy of mine at the time had a computer and he burned the disc. I didn't even know you could at the time. He burned a copy of the disc, tried to put it in, didn't work. Was
Right.
like, well, I give up, right? And then he went home. And then I found this disc and I'm like, there's got to be a way to make this work. Fudged it, playing with it. Long story short, I found that this is the only and Mortal Kombat, the trilogy, was the only disc where when you took the demo disc, you put the demo disc in the console, right? It says PlayStation, and then as soon as the demo disc says PlayStation, you take it out and you put the burned one in, and it works.
Oh, wow.
So needless to play, the game.
Screen.
That's right. So the game that became our game, because you ain't got no money, you gonna buy another game. The game that became our game was Mortal Kombat, and that was like I think 20 of us, boys and girls. Ultimately printing out the we call it the Mortal Kombat Bible, every move list, all the backstories and this and that. We played for many a year, I think, like tournaments and money and the whole thing, just Mortal Kombat. That was the moment when I realized that, hey, obviously competition and all that, but it really breeds passion in people, and it just kind of never left me, stuff like that.
Bro, I was one of those people that burned a disc, and I didn't even think about the splash screen part.
Mm-hmm.
So man, I could have went.
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat, and believe it or not, I've tried it on other games. It never worked. Only Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay, that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was curious about because I was a kid too, and I remember when my family got the brand new, CDRW piece to be able to, we take out the old one, throw it away, and throw in this new one, and it felt like the stuff, man. Like you felt like you could just do and make anything.
Anything. That's
and
right.
this was before the DVD versions
Yep.
and stuff
Yep.
came out. So like, like making music back then, having your own like 15, 20 track CD. Man, that was lovely. And there was a few different ways to write discs back in the day too. Remember the old the old stackable stereos?
Yeah.
Where I mean they're still around, but they're not
They
near
still
as
sell
big
them,
as they're not near as big as they used to be back in the day, because everybody used to have the big speakers and all this stuff like that. But like they used to have like a 5 disc changer that would do oh wait, no wait. My uncle had the 5 disc changer, but then he had a separate one that said like CDRW on it and would actually burn disc, but it had to play the whole CD.
Yeah. Had to do it like 1x that while it was playing. So if you want to record it, you have to play the whole thing to watch it while it was playing. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was like recording the radio essentially.
Basically recording the radio. That's right. 100%. Yes.
Oh man, yeah. I forgot about that until just now when we thought about it, talking about the past and whatnot. But yeah, man. Now everything is just it's just your phone now. You don't even really use.
People are lucky. They don't even know how far we've come. Like, it's there's just so much that used to be so difficult. You were special to be able to do half the stuff that people just take for granted now.
Oh, absolutely. I remember I had that whole I used to record the radio and hit stop every time the commercial would come on, and then hit record again, so I'd have something to listen to at night and stuff like especially when that new banger was on the radio or something like that, because that was the only way you could hear it unless you had $20.
Only way. That's right. Yeah.
But let's move on, because we could talk about that forever. So throughout all the consoles that you played throughout your life, which have been a lot at this point, what's the most memorable one that you cherish to this day? Are you gonna go with what Everborn says and Sega it up everywhere? Every change.
Actually, you know what? It's funny. Mine may not be the same as everybody else's, and mine is for a different reason than gaming. My favorite console, and I still have it to this day, is the OG Xbox. Like OG Xbox. And the reason why that is because, like, as I said, I'm a tech guy. I've been enjoying technology for quite some time. When that console first came out, so I had a love affair with a Dreamcast. I see your Dreamcast back there, player, by the way. Good look. I'm still trying to get I want to get a black one. Anyway.
Like the Sega Sports one?
Yes, the Sega Sports one. That's right. I had a love affair with Dreamcast. Loved my Dreamcast. But of course, Sega went the way Sega went. It is what it is. Some people blame Sony. I didn't really blame Sony. I think Sega made some bad decisions. It is what it is. But basically,
Shenmue cutscenes.
Yeah, Shenmue was a terrible game. People don't know this, but it was. You could be a forklift operator and drive forklifts for like 5 hours in there. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway,
I thought it was pretty neat, but at the same time, like those cutscenes.
By today's standard, you're just like, no, stop. What are we doing here? Wasting our time, But yeah, so basically, what happened was I was a little burned by Dreamcast and how it came and went. And right at that time, I had moved to the States because I left Holland, moved to the States to live with my dad, and that was on a permanent basis in 2001, right? And that's right when the Xbox had first come out, the OG Xbox. And of course, being a computer geek that I am, what's the first job I got when I moved to America? I went to work for EB Games, Electronics Boutique.
Yeah.
Right. So that's this Christmas when I think the PS2 had come out. I think it was the PS2. It was the PS2. The PS2 competed directly with the OG Xbox. Yeah, it was the PS2. Yeah. So needless to say,
I think
the PS2 comes out.
Didn't the PS2 come out? Yeah, the PS2 came out before the Xbox did.
Yes, it did.
They were still working on that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
No, that's fine. So I was initially going to go the PS2 route, but being that I worked at EB, one thing that happened that was very weird, well, it was very shrewd on PlayStation's part. I don't know if it ever caught wind where you were, but the PlayStation 2 broke a lot. There were a lot of damaged units, like a lot. Uh, so that was right when they were transitioning from Blu-ray disc, from normal disc to Blu-ray disc, right? Not even Blu-ray, but I think a higher capacity of CD. That's why you could see some discs had the blue bottoms and other
Blue
discs had white
bottoms and
normal
black
bottoms
and
and black bottoms. Exactly.
yeah, the regular bottoms and whatnot.
Exactly. What the PS2 was doing, instead of having one lens that read everything, they had one lens that read the blue bottoms and one lens that read the regular. So there's a motor inside the PS2 that would pop it up based on which disc you put in. And at some point, and usually it was quick, some of them lasted a while, but others did not. It would get stuck with the last one you read. So all of a sudden, blue bottoms wouldn't work anymore, or white bottoms wouldn't work because that motor would not rotate anymore. So when I first moved here and I was like, oh, it's time to, I'm working at PlayStations at EB Games, and they're selling a bunch of PlayStations. You look in our back room, and there were like 300 broken PlayStations in there. And every week they'd be sending them back and replacing them, sending them back and replacing. It never blew up to the height of Red Ring of Death, but from my vantage point, it was pretty damn bad. Like, so I was like, nope, no PS2 for me. And then I went to the Xbox route. Halo, of course, was the start of it. So like before then, I had been PlayStation guy, Nintendo guy, a little bit of Genesis, but from that PS2, what I saw made me not go PS2. I eventually got a PS3 and all that, but that generation made me go Xbox. And then all the techie stuff that the Xbox could do, it was running Windows CE, which was basically the Dreamcast's OS. It was running the same thing. And obviously being that it's Windows, you could do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. There was an application called XBMP, if some people recall, a long time ago. Now it goes by a very popular name people know called Kodi. But back in those days, it was literally taking the Xbox's original XML code and making it play beyond video games, making it play videos and making it play TV shows. And we were all like, some of us were all contributing code to that project. It was open source. It still is. Yeah. So it was really, really cool to be a part of that environment. I used to use like X-Link Kai to connect and community and do like Halo tournaments, even though Halo at the time did not have a multiplayer component, but this application could do that. And basically we created Xbox Live before Xbox Live was a thing. Like it was just out there. People were doing all this crazy homebrew stuff, and it didn't require too much work, because the console kind of just lets you do that.
Yeah, it's already pretty much a computer. You just
exactly.
In there
so
and
even
do whatever
to
you
this
want
day, I have my well, it's now packed up. My house has become a bit of a construction zone until I fix it out. But like I have my OG Xbox with a chip on it. I painted it white. I have like an SSD, a hard drive in there that's way bigger than any that they knew was possible. Because even to this day, since that console was so prolific in the technology, there's a big community of keeping it alive. So you can still put like new hard drives in it. You can buy new ones and do software mods and all this crazy stuff. So that's for me, that console will always have a special place in my heart. The games were great. I would say Dreamcast is better because Dreamcast had better games. But still, that because of what that hardware did and where it took me, and solidifying me in that gaming space, I will always love my OG Xbox.
Yeah, man. The game changer for me, because I had the PS2 first, and then I sold my PS2 and got the Xbox because I figured out when I went to the homie's crib that you could listen to music while you played the game. Yeah, and that was a game changer for me, because I was that guy. I was that kid back in the day. And I mean, just like you, I like to tinker around with stuff and whatnot. And like I'd be taking apart speakers and hooking it up with a wire and putting it back, and then like making my own surround sound around my room with all these different types of speakers, and they were so unbalanced. But I didn't know anything. I didn't know any better at that time.
That's right.
But I used to unplug one like the Red and then plug that from my stereo player, and then have the white one from the PlayStation in, and obviously the video port. So then I could hear the music at the same, but I could only hear the music on one side and then hear the game on the other side.
On the other side,
Xbox
yeah.
put that together for me, so I didn't have to do that
yeah.
no more.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
for
That's
games
right.
like 2K5 and whatnot, it was integrated into the game.
Yes,
So,
it was checking your hard drive and using your music from your local hard drive, like insane stuff.
cutscene would come on,
yeah.
and the music would cut off, and they'd do the whole cutscene, and then the music would come back on.
Oh yeah. Actually, to my understanding, like some of the stuff that OG Xbox, like the music integration was doing back then, they haven't even been able to recreate it. Like even now, yeah, you can use like Spotify or whatever to play in the background and whatnot.
It plays
but that
over
integration
everything,
isn't as tight. That's right. It's not as tight as it used to be. They've Microsoft and their console thoughts, they've been leading the way even from behind for a long time. They've been doing some forward-looking stuff that's been very, very interesting. So I always keep an eye on that,
You know, I think that Microsoft is the king of like being underestimated at the same time as like mysteriously quiet. Sometimes they're quiet to their own detriment.
Oh yeah.
Like now, I'd say.
Yeah,
right
yeah, 100%.
I'd say that's one of those
yes,
situations.
that's right.
But but I feel like when they're quiet, it's one or the other. They're doing something fantastic or something really bad is going on. And this time, I think it's something fantastic, but we are really having to just chill because they were so behind the last generation.
Yep.
So, like, it sucks. And yeah, people are going to be out there saying Xbox has no games and what you got going on until Starfield and yada, yada, yada. But they don't understand that Xbox knows once they start this train, ain't no stopping it.
Yep.
And it's going to be like
100%.
banger after banger after banger. And then, I mean, people are going to feel what they feel about PlayStation in the month of February consistently with Xbox. And I feel like that's what they're trying to bring with everybody with Game Pass.
I agree 100%. I do. Yep. It's just patience that we as a gaming community are lacking a little bit sometimes.
Ain't it real though? Ain't it real? And it's so hard being patient in a society where you can download stuff at a gigabit a second. You know? I mean, because back in the day, you going online to Kazaa or something to get yourself a song, you're gonna wait several hours just to get that one track.
Oh yeah.
Now it's
and even beyond back in the day, even like as recently as PS3 era, you want to download like that's when they introduced digital, right? That's when digital became, hey, that's an option. That took a day and a half to get anything you wanted to get. Now it's just like boom, instant. And Microsoft is even going, you don't even have to download it. Now it's just hit play and it's just working. And still people are not patient. It is what it is. So you're gonna do.
Yeah, it's insane. But moving forward, we got a little thing that I like to play with every single guest that I got on. Without overthinking, I want you to name the first game that comes to your mind, whether it's first party or third party or whatever.
Okay.
When I say the name of the console, right?
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to say, which isn't even a console, PC. What's the first game you think of?
Ooh. Chips Challenge. How about that?
Chips? I did not see that coming. It wasn't a guess.
You know the game, right? You know Chips Challenge?
I don't. But let me
oh,
know.
Wow. You should look it up. It was on Windows 3.1, like before the OG Windows that anybody knows. It was the old school, like half DOS, half Windows. That was the first PC game I've ever played. Goofy little dude with a key trying to open doors. Chips Challenge. And any 80s baby has touched that game at some point. It was it was built into Windows. It's the weirdest. I'm surprised nobody has either remade it or brought it back or something like that. It is many kids' first
for
game.
You to bring it back, bruh.
Yeah, I'm sure Microsoft still owns the rights to that. But yeah, Chips Challenge. That's my first thought of a PC game. You could say Doom. You could say Wolfenstein, but Chips Challenge. I was like 5 or 6. That's the first game I played.
Yeah, my first game I think of when I say PC would be Max Payne, actually, because that was my first big PC game that I played, and I don't understand why my mom bought that for me as a kid. Because I went back and played it, and I was like,
That game is some
yeah.
serious business right there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't make. I mean, a lot
Uh-huh.
of people say games are dangerous, right? So yeah, I mean, I played that
Mm.
game as a kid, and I grew up and played it as an adult, and I was like, bruh,
Hmm.
like what was I thinking? Like, there's dope fiends everywhere. You walking on like
Yeah.
blood of your child, and yeah, it's bruh. But anyways, yeah. Moving forward, next console I
Hmm.
gotta bring up is, since you mentioned it as your sweet thing that isn't exactly your number one, Dreamcast.
Oh, that's got to be Dead or Alive. That's got to be Power Stone. I could keep going. That's got to be Crazy Taxi. Uh, oh, what am I talking about? Jet Set Radio. Come
There
on
you
now.
go.
I love that console. Like, it's funny. It's my never ending mission. I have every like I collect a lot of old school retro consoles now. I do a lot of retro gaming. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny. My wife always makes fun of me. Oh, the PS4, you can hack it now. What are you doing with it? I'm playing retro games. I have every device I own can play retro games. I have a Wii U that can play retro games, and they all play the same retro games. But still, somehow, some way, I always end up going back there because you got to remember the great stuff. So
Yeah.
yes, I think I have more Dreamcast capable game systems in this house than an actual Dreamcast. I don't even have a Dreamcast right now. But yes,
But
I
you can
always end up
play your
putting
Dreamcast
Dreamcast games
games on those consoles.
on everything. Yes.
That's
Yes.
hilarious.
What was it? The latest addition to my collection was what do they call it? Retroid Pocket. I don't know if you've seen those things. It's a little handheld, like about this big. Retroid Pocket 2, it's called, and it basically is an Android device, like with a that looks kind of like it could have been made by Nintendo, and it's literally meant for emulation, and you can just throw anything you want at that game and at that system, and close to almost PS3, almost it could play, but definitely plays Dreamcast. And I'm playing Street Fighter on there, a bunch of other old school games. Like, I always enjoy that stuff. I have kids, so it's always good to introduce them to how Daddy used to play before all this fangled 3D stuff is all over the place.
Are your kids gamers at all, or nah?
I'm trying to get them into it. They're still quite young. I have a 5 and a 3-year-old.
Okay.
They're both all in because they always see Daddy doing it. My 5-year-old, my daughter, is totally into it now. Like, she actually stole I have an X screen connected to the Xbox Series S, and she loves, like, she plays like Paw Patrol game and all these other things.
That's what my daughter
And,
plays. Yep.
yeah, and Omno. I don't know if you've heard of the indie game called Omno. Very,
Yep.
very
That
cool
with the staff.
with the staff, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving my son a bath. I turn around, where's my daughter? Actually, I think I put it on Twitter today. Where's my daughter? She's like, she got the screen up, she's playing Omno. She's like, well, I'm gonna play this for the next 100 hours. I'm like, yeah, no, my dear. It's time you put that down. But yeah, she's claimed my Series S, and she loves her games, and it's good. I'm proud that she's picking up something that I enjoy so much. So, and my son he's a little too young, but he's ready to jump in a minute. He's ready to get there. So I think I've birthed some good gamers in the future, which is good.
Yeah, you can already see the jealousy in his eyes of him
Mm-hmm.
not understanding exactly
I
what
want
to
the
do.
controller. I want
Yeah,
that
give me the
controller.
controller, and then I'm just gonna smack the buttons and then wonder why it's
Yeah.
not working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that. Going through that currently, my daughter loves Paw Patrol. She loves Roblox, of course.
Oh, Roblox. I have
Yeah.
not introduced them to that just yet.
Oh man, I
I'm
don't
waiting.
know if you should, bro, because there's
I'm
just so
waiting.
many microtransactions that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
bother you through that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like half the time you turn on a game for them, you have to then cancel all the microtransactions.
All the
and
microtransactions.
then they walk up to something and ask them, and then they're like, "Hey, I need you to get me off of this screen again." And
Yep.
I will tell you right now, as a father, do your best to find a different game because literally any other game is better than that.
Yeah, I've been trying to push my daughter more towards like Minecraft because it has more educational aspects of it, and it opens the broad STEM aspects of it, and they've kind of engineered it towards education, so it kind of slowly teaches them coding while they're playing. You know, she's still kind of young still. She has like a little iPad she plays on, but I put Minecraft on there for her, and she plays from time to time. As long as I can avoid Roblox, I will. I suspect one day Roblox will come home from school though, which will be, that'll be the dark day. But for now, I make sure I introduce it to interesting indies. I like I said, Game Pass. They don't have as many kid friendly games, but they do have a few clutch kid friendly games that she's been liking. What's the other one that she plays a lot of? Piku Niku. It's called little weird dudes with like long legs, and it's all like one blob, and they it's fun little cute stories and platforming and stuff, and she likes that a lot. So whenever she wants to play, I push her towards those safe experiences that don't be asking you for money for a skin every 5 seconds.
See, this is how it happens. You start talking a little bit about kids and you get completely off topic, and that is exactly what just happened.
Indeed.
Back to the question.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox 360. First game that comes to your mind.
Ooh. Mass Effect?
Ooh, okay. Oh, okay. Yep.
Mass Effect? Yeah.
Good one. Now let's take it all the way back to the SNES.
Super Mario All-Stars.
Ooh, I haven't heard anybody list that one yet. That was a good one because it had all the Marios on there. So it was really easy just to turn it on and just figure out which one.
And they cleaned up the graphics a bit. I'm just like, ooh, they added some extra pixels to the situation. It was good. I love that thing.
Wasn't Mario 2 looking smooth?
It was mad smooth, and I think depending on which version you got, they also added the versions of what they call them, the lost chapters or whatever. They actually were Mario. It was Mario 2, but in Japan, but they hadn't released it in the West, so you didn't ever get to see that version of Mario. But in the All Stars, they added it anyway. It was I really enjoyed those packages, with all the various Mario games. I was a big Mario kid when I was younger.
Absolutely. Let's do just a couple more. The next one I want to bring up is going to be the PlayStation 3.
PS3. Ooh. Oh, well, I guess that's kind of easy. The Last of Us.
Last of Us? Yeah, that is the easy one.
Yeah, which is weird to think that at PS3 is when The Last of Us 1 first came out. I'm like, damn.
It was a hot minute ago.
Yeah, and it was man, that game is old.
It was hot
oh yeah. Oh yeah, masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece.
Still hot now. I literally just beat the game, I want to say last August or something like that. I beat
for the first time?
Yeah, for the first time.
Wow, that's a great experience.
I skipped and I got to play it on the PS5, so that was really nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then I got to play Last of Us 2 on the PS5 as well. Fantastic games. Story is, what it is, but like the amount of polish that was in that game, 1 and 2 was just like.
Yeah, that tells you that most of this stuff, when people make these comparisons, those people don't know what they're talking about. It's about the craft and the experience of these very talented developers. They can turn, what they were able to do with Last of Us 2 on the PS4 shouldn't be possible. The level of fidelity they were able to crank out of the PS4 for that game, the blades of grass, the hair, from a technical perspective, like Last of Us 2 is freaking leavable that they have been able to accomplish those tasks. So, say what you will about the story. Some people like this, some people don't. But to me, that is masterpiece level work. Specifically Last of Us 2. 1 had a spark. 2 was just out of this world as far as that level of quality. So, I will always put that on very high for anybody who wants to play anything gaming related. So it's up there as GOAT, great of all time kind of game. It just is whether you like the story or not, it's there, right? But anyways, shout out to Reggie Lee and also Eternal Umbra in the chat. Umbra's in here. Yes, my man Umbra. Thank you so much for being in here. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, moving forward, let's hit you with kind of a curveball a little bit, and
Mm,
I'm kind of curious if you've ever even played this system,
mm.
the Panasonic 3DO.
3DO. I had a buddy who had a 3DO. I could not tell you a game on the 3DO. Like, yeah,
There's
like
Gex.
the yeah, you're right. Yeah. And I've actually played I've played Gex on an emulated system,
Hmm.
but I never like the 3DO doesn't have a connection point for me because I think at that time, I wasn't in a position where I could just try any game I wanted. Right. I call them the radio hits. I only had the radio hit consoles. Your Nintendo, your Super Nintendo, your N64 for a little bit, your PlayStation. There was the Neo Geo was too rich for my blood at the time. You
Panasonic was
know,
expensive too when that thing
was
came
super
out. It was
expensive.
like
Yeah,
$500-$600.
that's right. When the Sega CD came out and people started doing the Tower of Power, I could only look at it from afar because I just didn't have the scratch to get that Tower of Power. But yeah, like I always ended up being adjacent to it, maybe go and spend too much time at the store playing around with it, but I never got my hands on it like at home unless I had a buddy or something that had it. Yeah.
Yeah, those things are hard to come by right now, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like I've been balancing out like whether it's worth the trouble of going and trying to find one because they're still expensive. Like right now, they're still
Yeah,
like
I would
three,
think
four hundred
these
dollars.
days, unless you're one of those folks who are very, very much on, I don't want emulation, I want the hardware feel, you can emulate most, if not all of those games to the point where it's very close, like so close that it's just, you'd have to be an aficionado to be able to tell the difference, and that's usually far more cost effective.
Yeah, I see, and that's my issue is
Mm.
because I'm one of those kind of guys that want to play with the
The
console.
OG. Yeah.
I want to play with that controller that came with
Hmm.
that console. I don't want to like map buttons and stuff like that. And I understand emulation is
Mm.
fantastic, but at the same time, there's a special part in my heart to have the material,
Sure.
especially
Yeah.
when we're getting so far away from material as
Hmm.
it is
Hmm.
now. Like most of all my
Have you ever
Xbox and
heard
PlayStation games digital.
Have you ever heard of a piece of hardware called the Mister?
The Mister, no, I have not.
Yes.
Let me know.
So what makes this interesting for you is how emulation emulates software, right? Normally you have a piece of software, it emulates how that hardware would represent. And it always gets it like I'd say 85-90% of the way there. The Mister, what that does is it's a socket, it's a circuit board, almost looks like a Raspberry Pi, but it's a little bit bigger than that. And what it does is it emulates hardware, not software. So like there are firmware, because what firmware is basically instruction sets for that hardware to do stuff. And it literally within this small little thing called the Mister project, you can emulate hardware. So you could say, now be a 3DO, and it will behave like a 3DO 100%, just
That's
like as
crazy.
if it was built. And now be an SNES, and it will, like, to the point where it is 100% like how it was made, to the point where there's no emulation layer, there's no question. If you actually had a socket you could slot the games in, they would play. It's not cheap. I think like the last time I priced out a Mister system, a good one, you were talking about $400 or $500 for all the little pieces of the puzzle. But once you have it,
But then you got a
you
universal
can
system.
build a cabinet and have all of the games in there, and they will play literally like the day they were made, because the
Now
Mister emulates the hardware.
that would be a great idea right there. Is if you wanted
Yeah.
to make a cabinet of some
Mm-hmm.
sort, and you wanted to just like arcade
Yeah.
it up, one of those would be super dope.
Mm-hmm.
One of those would be super
Yeah.
dope because this right
Because
here is
yeah.
messy. This is very like wires
Mm.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Just to
true.
get my Sega CD mixed with the 32X mixed with
Mm-hmm.
the Sega Genesis is 3 different power cables
Yeah.
by itself.
And
then
you
power
have
all
a hard time these days without a CRT in your life. I see you got a CRT back there.
a tiny
If you're not one with
But
a
it works.
CRT, yeah. If you're not one with a CRT, it even makes those old school consoles hard to even like
Ooh,
produce,
to
because
digest, yeah.
there's only analog outputs, whereas the Mister has a digital output. You can put an HDMI to it, although in the instruction set is literally behaving like the hardware you chose. It's very cool, but because it can be so costly because each piece costs much, most folks stick to software emulation. But if you have to have the best hardware out there, if you have to have it like be just as if it was your Sega CD or your Saturn or your like any of those obscure consoles of the past, that may be the way you should go. You know, you have one thing to rule them all, and new firmware is coming out all the time to make it do even more different things. Pretty cool.
He's had one ring to rule all the
Basically,
lands.
yeah. Basically.
All right. Well, the last one I'm gonna have you do is gonna be
Mm-hmm.
a mixture of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And what I want you to do is tell me the first game for each one of them that you think of that hasn't came out yet.
Ooh, that's interesting. PS5 will be difficult. Well, yeah, PS5 is kind of difficult because they haven't really shared much with their about their roadmap, right? They haven't really shared too much more. I would say I'm a Marvel zombie from way back, so I'm just waiting for the next Spider-Man. I'm waiting for the next, waiting for Wolverine, things like that. I think Insomniac is like a masterpiece
They got the
studio.
Midas
So
touch.
yeah, they can't fail. They just can't fail. Everywhere they've gone, they've left like amazing games in their wake, even if you don't remember them. You know what I mean? They've always been great. So all they got to do is say Insomniac and Marvel. I'm like, I'm there. Day one. Here's my money. Right.
Right.
On Xbox, oh, there's just so much, man. On Xbox these days, of course, everybody's looking for Starfield. I think Starfield would be great. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I expect Starfield to be that next Mass Effect kind of, in space situation. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of that.
When do you think
Redfall,
they're
I'm
gonna
looking
put a
forward
trailer out for that
for
in
Starfield.
Redfall? For Redfall and Starfield, do you think they're gonna put anything out sometime soon, or you think they're gonna
Well,
be really
so
sitting on that for
so
a minute?
when it comes to that, people just have to look at Bethesda's track record, how they do what they do, right? They love doing that 6 month rollout. That's what they love. They love the 6 month rollout. Look at Fallout 4, right? 6 months. You didn't even know it existed. 6 months. They bum rush you with a bunch of media and this video and that video, and then boom, in 6 months it's out, right? So I did hear the rumor and speculation that Redfall had been pushed from summer to possibly fall, but I honestly think that specifically for those out there who are like, well, these games aren't coming out because we haven't seen anything about them, specifically with those games, since it's all within Bethesda's purview, I expect you'll see a lot more of it in the 6 months leading to its release because they like that 6 month release.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that we'll see that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Redfall an Unreal 5 game? Am I wrong
Um,
about that?
I think it is. I think it
Yeah, and
is, but
every Unreal 5
I'm
game
not gonna.
has been delayed. So that gives you
You know,
every Unreal 5 game has been
and,
delayed.
and yeah, because from what I hear is a lot of developers are having some
Mm-hmm.
issues
Mm-hmm.
with Unreal 5, and I
Yeah.
mean, and that's nothing out of the ordinary. When there's a
Yeah.
brand new engine, there's a lot
And
of
it's pushing
stuff to
so much
learn.
weight, and it's doing so much more than the last one did. And there's just so much to learn and discover. It's understandable, right? That it gets, and of course, add to that COVID and changing your work environment and all of that makes sense. It makes absolute sense. But yeah, those are the games that I'm looking forward to right now. And you said even first party, third party, I could keep going. I got Tunic for you. I've been waiting for Tunic for a long time. I love that
See,
indie
I just
game.
don't see the allure of that game, man.
You don't?
Everyone is so excited,
Mhm.
and call me the asshole because I'm always down
Okay.
to I'm always down to just be like, I don't agree with you,
Which is
But-
fine. Yeah. Did you try Death's Door?
I played a little bit of Death's Door, but I had too much other stuff to play at the time that it
Okay.
dropped in the Game Pass.
Yeah.
So it kind of got like looked past.
It lost
If
in the shuffle for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. See, if it would have dropped in the Game Pass the same time like Ascent did, I would have been mad
Mhm.
at the Ascent, and I would have went and played.
Okay. Okay.
that.
So are you more of a Unreal 5 well, not Unreal 5, but Unreal in general, high fidelity kind of gamer? or can you play indies? Maybe that's what's leading you one way or another, which is fine. I mean, to each his own. It's just what gets me about Tunic is it's been built by one dude,
Yeah, no,
literally
that's insane.
one dude. Like, shout out to my man Everborn. He's been building his game for some years as well. The idea that one dude can put it all out there, that is like immensely impressive to me. Way back in the day, one of my favorite games of yore, Fez by Phil Fish. I don't know if you know that game, Fez. It's a
No.
2D game that had a 3D aesthetic, like all built one dude. I love it when one dude is able to like really do all this stuff. Death's Door was by two guys, so that always spurs my creativity. I'm like, I want to see what this one dude can do, especially
when was something similar like that too.
Exactly my point. I love the idea that a single developer or a single-minded individual can go out there and put something out there and it will rival the stuff that was built by 300 people or teams, right? That's just so impressive to me. So when you're one dude and you're building something,
get more praise at like award shows and whatnot, because I swear like 80% of my shows behind them sticks, whenever I had somebody on, I asked them what was their favorite game.
Death's Door.
And it was the same people that are praising like Elden Ring like crazy and whatnot, like big game. They these people, everybody loves a big game, but I kept hearing people say Death's Door, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
it's a $20 game.
The music is amazing. The style was great. It was just very special. Like, and when you get the idea that all of this crazy, in a world where 800 people are touching games, like The Last of Us 2 had so many developers. They say it's Naughty Dog, but it had so many developers. So many people touched that game, which ultimately it was for its benefit, right? It looks beautiful, came great.
It still had to crunch too.
A lot of crunch, exactly. And you compare that to a game that was literally made by one developer, which took him like 5-6 years of his life, and he's just put it out there. To me, that dude deserves all the respect in the world, and I will play your game and I will champion your game because more people need to do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm excited for Tunic. It's been out like in various demo form for some years now, but the dude has been grinding away at it, trying to make it work. I'm looking forward to the day it releases. I'm super excited for that. Atomic Heart. Like, I don't know if anybody has heard of Atomic Heart. That's
yeah, I've heard of Atomic Heart.
Very weird Kojima game.
It hasn't been getting talked about a whole lot. That's for sure.
Oh, Atomic Heart, Evil West. I'm looking forward to Evil West. That's very, very cool. Like, there's a bunch of games that are, and they're all in 2022. So, there's a bunch of games that may not be first party, may not be what you think of when you think of PlayStation or Xbox, but they're just gonna, out of nowhere, they're just gonna come and show up, and they're gonna give you like some magic you didn't think of. Last game I just came up that came to my mind, the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. What was it again? It's a very hard name to pronounce. Bomb Funk Cyberfunk or something. Bomb Punk Cyberfunk. Look it up if you haven't. It's literally the same musicians. The same musician from Jet Set Radio, and it's basically Jet Set Radio redone.
That sounds fantastic, because Jet Set Radio was the game for me. Like, I don't know, I played the hell out of that double CD of what was it, Sega GT and Jet Set Radio back for the OG
yes,
Xbox.
Yes, I remember that disc. Yes.
Yeah, I played both of those games like non-stop, because I don't think a lot of people like understood how good Sega GT 2, I believe. Sega GT was. That game was like, for me, I was fresh out of Gran Turismo 2. And
back when they were making you do license trials. I remember that.
Right, and I loved it. Right?
Yeah, me too.
So I was fresh out of Gran Turismo 2, and Dreamcast dropped before the PlayStation 2 did. So when I got the Dreamcast, I was like, what am I going to play? So I got Sega GT as my game, and that game was just so good that I completely skipped A-Spec. I didn't care about it. So yeah. Shout out to whoever made. Shout out to Sega for making Sega GT, because that game was absolutely
that game is underrated to this day. And unfortunately, since we live in a world where where there needs to be a lot of return on investment immediately, you may never see that one again. It's unfortunate.
Well, as Everborn said, I feel like Xbox kind of grabbed the baton from Sega and decided to run
True,
with it.
true,
Now they
true.
got Forza,
Yeah,
and Forza's like, run.
basically, yes, yes. All that Forza needs to do now is add like what do you call it? What was that EA game that was unbelievably good? The racing game. It was an arcade style. You could crash a lot. What's the name of that
Are
game?
you talking about like Burnout?
There you go. Not Paradise, but like the one right before Paradise. Add a crash mode to GT to Forza. Complete the
Oh
package.
man,
Add
that
a
was
crash mode.
so cool too. Yeah, because I remember because you try to get millions and millions of
Mm-hmm.
dollars of damage, and like
Yep.
you'd go in there and do like the initial wreck, and then all these
Mm-hmm.
semis would come out of nowhere and stuff like
And just
that.
kind of just to keep giving you more points. I mean, come on, like yes, we know what everybody would say if you added that to Forza. Oh, they're copying. That game has been out of production for so long, and everyone wants it back. Add a crash mode to Forza. That's all that needs to happen.
That'd be lovely, because I was one of those people that played that stuff until I got like the gold, because there
Mhm.
was like bronze, silver, and gold,
Yeah,
and
you
like
just
I
keep
would
grinding
not,
until you get it right.
I would
100%. I was
not
the
let
same way.
myself go to that next level without getting
No.
gold on each one, and it
Mhm.
felt good doing it, even though you get kind of pissed off because you'd be like, oh man, I meant to hit. My right bumper to do the twist
Mhm.
in the air or something
Yeah.
like that. You'd get so specific on how to wreck your car. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But what gaming genre throughout all of them does Mr. K Asante hate?
I don't think I hate any gaming genre in per se. Like I hate, but maybe like genres that I've tried that don't appeal to me, that I usually don't play. I don't hate them, but they're just not for me.
Bro,
Probably
what I'm
like
asking is, what are you going to the store and looking at that and saying, hell no?
oh yeah, that's probably like I don't know, graphic novels, something like that. Like I believe that games are to be played like you're playing a game rather than like if I want to watch a movie, I watch a movie. And graphic novels kind of seem to be like a stopgap between movie watching and playing of games. So that's never really called me as much, but I don't hate it. It's just not it's just of the hundreds of games that I own, you probably wouldn't find too many of those in there. But yeah, I don't hate anything really.
You're like, oh, I ain't hating nothing. All right.
Nah, there's no hate really. It's just, not necessarily my bag, as it were.
Bruh, I'll tell you right now, I am not a fan, and you probably won't like hearing it. I am not a fan of turn-based at all.
Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
hella boring.
But you see, I would say that too. But then I've played some turn-based games that changed my mind. That's why I have a hard time. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody tells me with graphic novels in mind, everybody tells me to play. What's that PlayStation game that used to be people were always Danganronpa. People say Danganronpa is like the best kind of graphic novel type game you should play, and that would change your mind. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but I used to not like RTSs. I used to not like any of that stuff. And depending on some games, you're just like, yo, this is actually not bad. Like the XCOM style, I used to not appreciate it, but now I love that kind of stuff. Not every one of them. Some of them are trash, in my humble opinion, but I've played enough where some of them transcend their genre, and all of a sudden there I am playing it. Like we were talking about, look at me playing Elden Ring, right? So I can't say I hate FromSoft games, but I haven't really loved any of the others except for this one. So That's why I can never say I hate this one, because I'm always open to being wrong.
Are we gonna count a game like South Park Stick of Truth?
Oh yeah, see, exactly.
Are we gonna call that a turn-based?
Exactly.
Stop it.
Are you gonna tell me you're gonna play South Park Stick of Truth and then go, I hate turn-based? Because that game was freaking brilliant. It was brilliant, hilarious, and brilliant.
I ain't gonna lie.
Right? So you can't say you hate turn-based. You just don't like specific certain kinds of turn-based, but if they get you, they got you, right?
Okay, let me put it a little bit deeper. I don't really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really enjoy
See, it makes hate hard to say at that point.
especially Japanese,
Uh-huh.
like turn-based games, like
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
is what made me really dislike turn-based games
Mm.
because everyone
Okay.
was so in it, and I was just like, you
Mm-hmm.
don't do nothing. You just pick an attack, and like hopefully you pick the right combinations of attacks to not lose.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I actually, believe it or not, I agree with you on that for the most part. I've played a bunch of those Final Fantasies, the old school Final Fantasies, and that combat was never my favorite. I actually like that a lot of Final Fantasy, the modern Final Fantasies, have kind of like almost went to the VAT system, if you will, of Fallout and slowed down the combat for those who want turn based, but those who don't can just kind of beat them up their way through it versus stop, you hit me, then I hit you. I do get what you mean by that. There is a place for it, but in a world where you can really have that one-to-one and get in there, I can see how some people just be like, it's not really for me, you know. It is
right.
what it is. It's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to 2021, and I want
Mm-hmm.
to hear the best 3 games that came out that year for Kei Asante.
Wow, 2021. Wow, that's a okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to like on the fly check my like gaming thing here. And a quick pro tip to those PC users out there. Well, people who play PC as well as consoles. GOG, I don't know if you know GOG. It's a store that's made by the people who own CDPRs. It's their store, but they literally let you integrate all of your other platforms, so you can like see every game from everywhere. So even PlayStation, Xbox, all of it, all in one interface. So I can look at GOG right now, and it'll tell me in 2021 the game that I played most of.
That's
And
crazy.
let's see, yeah, it's pretty great. Like it's underrated feature, so it keeps all your stuff in one place. I would say in 2001, did Cyberpunk come out in 2001?
Dude,
Right, you think, right?
no, so Cyberpunk came out in 2020. I think it was like December 5th or something
December,
like that.
yeah. So that was right on the cusp. I would say Cyberpunk would be one of them because I really spent 2021 playing Cyberpunk, like a lot. But
Fair enough.
if the rule is that it has to have been released in 2021, then I guess I can't count that, right?
You're right.
Let's see. Definitely a Death's Door. That's one of them. I put a lot of time into Death's Door. I really like Death's Door. Believe it or not, Returnal. I didn't finish it, but I did appreciate it, and I played a lot of it. Like I said, it was a grazer. At some point, I had enough, but I did enjoy the loop when I had it. Right, and it's good to throw a PlayStation game in there. People think you only play Xbox. I play PlayStation 2. So yeah, that was really good. And what else? This I've been playing so many games that it's really hard to keep all of them in my head.
Well, let me list a few for you, and let's see
Sure.
what
Yeah.
kind of pops out.
Yeah.
So there was the release of like Flight Simulator for Xbox. There was the release of obviously Halo, Forza.
Yeah. I love Infinite. I did love Infinite. Yeah.
Outriders.
Outriders was fun.
The Outriders was actually fantastic. It just had
Yeah.
a really bad stability issue with being able to play with your friends, or even when you're playing by yourself. Sometimes you get kicked out of the game and stuff like that, and then find yourself, playing around with the options for 20 minutes to try to get back into the game.
Outriders was real fun. I'm a little biased because one of my good buddies, one of my lifelong friends, used to work for People Can Fly, so I always want them to succeed. So anytime they do anything, I'm there for it day one. I really enjoyed it, and I liked Outriders. After all the bugs were worked out, it was still a pretty top notch game.
I'm still playing it right now. It's a fantastic.
Oh, there you go.
Game. Yeah, man.
Cool. Very
I still
cool.
have it downloaded on the Series X right now. So yeah, that's what's up.
Did the Avengers come out in 2001?
Oh man,
I'm not sure.
I want to say it.
No, it came out in 2020.
Did it
See,
come out
a
in
lot of these
2020?
games, yeah, it came out September 2020. I'm looking at
Oh,
it right
so it
now.
came out before the new consoles even came
Yeah,
out then.
yeah. See, a lot of these games, 2021 didn't have a lot of amazing like just showed up and killed everybody, but you ended up playing a lot of the games in 2020, 2020 and 2021. Ooh, here's one, Biomutant.
Ooh, yes. I
I
did a
enjoyed
review on that
Biomutant.
game and I
I
loved
played a
that.
lot of Biomutant and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And that came out in May. I'm looking at my GOG list right now.
I was not a lover of the narrator for that story at
True,
all.
true. You had to turn that down. Like I had to turn that
Yes.
down at some point.
And the action of the game, like I love the actual like flipping and kicking
hmm
and fighting,
It was so
but the
unusual, all the stuff they could do.
but the noise that you made when you hit an enemy turned
Mm.
me off. It
Oh,
sounded like sticks hitting a tree. And I
true,
didn't
true.
really enjoy that. I was like, man, I'm doing
You
all these
could tell
badass
you could
moves, but
tell
I
it was
wanted
very
to.
indie, and that's where they spent their budget. Unfortunately, they didn't get
Right.
the chance to really put it out there like that.
Because
No, I hear you. I
everything
hear
was
you.
magnificent looking, like the game,
True.
the visual aspect of that game was like
hmm
second to none for the time that it came out and everything like that. Like who's it rivaling? Like looking that dang good.
True, true.
It looked
Yeah.
very Breath of the Wild ish with like a hint of Phoenix Rising. Like it gave you
hmm
it gave you a mixture of feelings when you played that
Ooh.
game.
So okay, I have two more for you, and these are definitely on my list for 2021. One, The Artful Escape.
That was fun. That was the
Loved,
short
loved,
game, but it was fun.
loved that game. Secondly, and that's on Game Pass coming soon, which I think is also great. If you haven't played it, run, don't walk, and go play that game. As I said, I'm a Marvel zombie from way back. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm.
One of my favorite games of 2021. Should have been on Game of the Year lists, in my humble opinion, because the writing is just that good.
They did get some awards at the show.
They did. They did get some awards. I think it should have gotten more awards, and it got clowned by its predecessors. It got clowned by Avengers, and people assumed it was going to be crap when it
I
was
was one of those
really
people
good.
to assume. I was 100% one of those people to assume. I actually
And you
said the
know
game was
what?
going to be
Did you end
terrible.
up buying it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Because had you not bought it, now you'd be making out like a bandit because it's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I had to eat my L. That's the way
Mm.
that I wanted to like cope with what I had said about that game because I was like 100% certain that that game was going to be a failure.
We
And
tried.
then
It didn't. To be fair, it didn't show well. They didn't put its best
it
foot
didn't get
forward.
the
I think.
numbers like
Yeah,
it
the
wanted
first
to.
time I saw it, it was like he was one of the guys was fighting like a pink ice cube or something, like the
Yeah.
weird jiggly. I'm like, get out of here with this ridiculousness. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
people are
But
like punting it and whatnot.
yeah, but ultimately it was a fun, really well written, really intelligent. Like I really want to go back and replay that game at some point. I'm hoping for DLC. Like give me Star Lord, like change Star Lord up and make him T'Challa from What If, and I will give me all the money. I'll give it to you right now. Not that I didn't like the guy who played him, but there's just so much room to grow there. So much DLC you can provide because people just would love that game. The only problem is it's by Square Enix, which means you're probably not gonna get it. So it is unfortunate.
Right.
I hope they get a chance to either make another one of those or take another stab at another Marvel property because, in my humble opinion, they did expertly with that.
Oh, they did fantastic in that game. The music was, man, that music in that game took me back.
Yep,
And I
100%.
absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But anyways, here's a really interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
2 games. I want you to go back into your bag of
Mm-hmm.
all the games that you've played throughout your time and go pick 2 games to get that AAA love or however you want to put it, make it look just Unreal Engine 5. Like give it to me. What are 2 games that you wish you could bring back tonight?
I could cheat this one, but I'll give you 2 good ones. Like what I mean by I could cheat is I could tell you that Soul Reaver 1 and 2 need to be remade immediately.
Okay.
Like
Soul
both
Reaver
of
was
them.
fire.
The first Soul Reaver and the second one.
I'm not
Amy
even a
Hennig's
Souls
first
player,
games.
but back then that was like, because like I said, back in the day, you didn't have these games holding your hand and stuff like that.
Sure, Soul
So
Reaver was
it,
that vampire game. Amy Hennig wrote it. Like, amazing game. The story was amazing. Like, I've actually replayed some of it, like on a retro or handhelds before. I think that game needs a remake. Like, go back to it, reestablish it. It deserves it. Like, so I'll not to cheat. I'll make the Soul Reaver franchise one, and the other one is by BioWare. What's the name of the game? I'm forgetting. I'm blanking now. Oh my god, I have to look it up real quick.
Anthem.
BioWare. No, definitely not Anthem.
Because Lord knows that game needs some or needed help. That game
No, no,
got
no,
forgotten
no.
about now. That game's gone.
Jade Empire.
Oh wow, you went
Those are
way
the two
back.
that I picked. Yes, 2005. Actually, not that far back. I expected it to be
It's
older,
it's
but
a way further back than
yeah,
Anthem.
Jade Empire. That deserves a remaster, remake, because that game was amazing. Like, amazing. I loved that game. So there you go. Those are the two.
Love them. Love the choices, bro. They're definitely Asante's picks.
Yeah, I
Um,
appreciate it. I like to not dig into. I like digging into the crates, not the radio hits, as they say. So, something interesting that people might not remember from back in the day.
hey, that's the fun way to go, because if everybody said Halo and God of War and stuff like that, that'd make for a very boring conversation consistently.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, here's kind of a question that kind of goes into a different direction.
Okay.
What about gaming as a whole frustrates Asante?
uh, you started some things with this question. No. Honestly, these days, what frustrates me about gaming, like, gaming for me, like I said, gaming came to me from technology, and it's always about ones and zeros, right or wrong, right? You can't depend necessarily on humans, but you can depend on technology because it always responds the way it should, right? And unfortunately, it seems like people are taking this thing that is very, very binary, very on or off, and kind of reshaping it to fit narratives, the console war and the this and the that, and how is it, like for instance, people comparing one game to another, when in actual fact, when you actually pay attention, or when you get some education from the developers, or when you start understanding the process of development, you see that it all tends to be decisions that they made, not necessarily, oh, these guys are good and these guys are bad, right? Some people spend their resource capital on making their world huge, but maybe at that to that point, when they make it so huge, people won't the graphics won't look as crisp, but you can go and do whatever the hell you want, right? Whereas others will make their games linear, but then you can see every blade of grass on the field, right? Doesn't mean that A is better than B. It just means they made different decisions. But it seems like, because folks are always in that, my team's better than your team type situation, they go, well, look at the game A compared to game B. Why did they look so? It's very apples and oranges for the most part, right? Very much so. So if you've ever watched any of my shows or see me on the panel or something, I'm always trying to advocate for you to educate yourself, so you see that it's not necessarily that Studio A is bad and Studio B is better, or vice versa. It's that they all have different decisions to make, and depending on the decisions they make is what you see. And because of that, they are all very talented. They just choose to apply it in different places, and bringing it to a scorecard of these are good or these are bad just kind of diminishes both entities. You know what I'm saying? It cheapens them, right? Metacritic and all of that stuff, that getting it all to one number. I always think that just takes away
It's
from
silly.
it is. It's very silly, right? Very, very, very silly. It's like saying, here's two teams building a house. One builds a skyscraper, another one builds a family house, and because they built a skyscraper, they're better. No, maybe they had different needs. Maybe there's a different recourse. There are reasons why people do what they do with what they're given. even if they both have exactly the same level of talent, right? They
Yeah,
make different decisions. And every
I'm.
time you hear a developer speak, they will say
Mhm.
the same thing. Well, we had to, we used our resources to do this. We used our resources to do that. Not that they were not capable, but because of their thought process, certain decisions were made from jump to help further their vision along. Doesn't mean they're good or bad, but people just can't seem to, I don't know. People just, they like to sometimes the gaming discourse boils it all down to my team good, your team bad, whoever that team may be, and that frustrates me because it insults the art, in my opinion.
And people, I feel like people also don't understand how much budget mixed with like investors
Mm-hmm.
make a big difference on how a game looks.
Yes.
Like to take it on the budget side, you heard what Psychonaut said about their game. They were
Mm-hmm.
gonna strip out bosses and all
Yeah, that's
kinds of
right.
different
That's right.
things because
Yes,
of budget.
exactly. Good example. Yes, exactly.
Like it's not that they couldn't do it; they just ain't
Yeah,
got the cash for it for
100%.
certain things. And then
That's right.
on the other side, like what was it? Budget, and then the other one was mm, slipped out of my head.
Mm.
But what I'm trying to
Let me
say
give you a
is,
quick example.
what's up?
Like the latest example, Elden Ring, doesn't run anywhere well, right? And on the PS4, the PS5, if you're running the PS4 version of it on PS5,
It's
it
like
runs
perfect.
better, right? It runs near 60 flawless. Recently, and shout out to Digital Foundry, I love those guys, love what they do. Recently, because as I said, I enjoy the tech, so whenever you bring the tech up, I'm there to see it. Recently, they did a thing where they tried to run the Xbox One version
The One
on
X,
the
yep.
the One X, and it didn't run equally as well. But the immediate response is, oh, see, this good, this bad. If you pay even a modicum of attention, you understand that different decisions were made, right?
Right.
Like they're running the PS4 version, PS4 Pro versus Xbox One X, right? And during that time frame, PS4 Pro always clocked a little lower than the One X did, right? So what they did, and this is what after the headline shocks you, if you pay attention, this is what you find out why it's doing the way it is. A PS4 Pro's version on PS5 runs in performance mode because the PS4 Pro always did checkerboard rendering and it never really did native 4K, right? Because their Pro wasn't as pro as the One X was. But the One X did do native 4K, so they always opted for quality mode. So now when you run them both on PS5, the PS4 version is still running in performance mode. So you lose some fidelity, but what do you gain? Awesome frame rates. The Xbox One X version, even on Series X, is running in quality mode. So what does it do? It increases quality over resolution, over frame rates. So even on Series X, it'll increase quality, make shadows, do all this great stuff, but then you're killing the frame rate, right? Decisions they made. They could have done exactly the same thing they did on the PS4 as they did on the Series X, but because on the One X, but because those two pieces of hardware did different things, they made different decisions. But if you don't pay attention to that thought process, you go, see, this one's trash, this one's great. And that's just such a slimming down, a derivative of the real
It's
situation
lazy.
here. It's lazy.
It's just lazy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like bottom line, play it on the console that you want to play it on, and just
That's right.
shut up. And just shut
Exactly.
up.
Yes, yes, yes. In my world, I advocate for be a gamer. Play the game where the game is. Like I play it on PC, I play it on consoles, wherever I can get the game, I play the game. If you can't be like me, because I find myself in a lucky position, play it where you can. But that doesn't automatically mean that the other team necessarily is wrong, because more often than not, it's just choices that have been made that could have gone either way, and they chose to do it that way because reasons. you know, and it makes everyone happier when you just play your game rather than spend all your day on the internet just going finger waving and all of that.
Yeah,
That is definitely what frustrates me about gaming a little bit.
it's weird because those that complain they don't understand how they think everybody else looks weird when it's them themselves that look
Mm,
wild.
that's right. Yeah, I'm sure you heard about the doctor, 52-year-old doctor that's
He might
on
have
the
ruined
operating
his
room
life,
table.
bro. He might have
Somebody's
ruined his
somebody's
life.
is under the knife in your console war. Like, I'm sorry, bro. You deserve to lose your job. You deserve to lose your job. You definitely do. You do.
Oh man.
'Cause,
Oh, okay,
man, come on
Asante
now.
said it. He went out and said it.
Come
He
on now.
said you're done. You went
I
too
mean,
far.
don't dox the man, don't give him death threats, but you're in a very unique position, and people put their life in your hands. Somebody's under the knife, like in that video, the person was like was knocked out, and this is what you choose to do while he's down. Like, you choose to use their medical information, broadcast it on the internet for your console. Like, get that dude out of there. He needs to lose his job today. Like, come on now. That's ridiculous. Nobody should stand for that stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
it was
yeah,
incredibly bad. Not just bad, but
terrible.
incredibly bad. And I'm not sure, but I watched his apology video, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't good. It wasn't
It
good.
seems like it was one of those. Oh boy, I better like put something out there, because if I don't, I could lose my job by the end of this week. You know what I'm saying?
What was that with a mixture of, like, I didn't want to make, that
Mm-hmm.
video about them, but those Xbots just pushed me to the limit, and it was
Mm-hmm.
because of racism and everything under the sun. Like it was them that brought the problem to me, and then I was just
Yeah.
trying to take it. Like don't nobody
That's
want to hear
another
that
thing that
backpedaling,
frustrates me.
bro.
You want to talk about frustrating? The othering of others. We're all gamers. We all play these games. Oh, it's these Xbox. Oh, it's these ponies. Stop with the ridiculousness, man. Stop with the ridiculousness. I played Sifu, a PlayStation 5 game, on PC. You know why? Because it was $20 cheaper than on PlayStation. And I did the same with Deathloop, because it was cheaper on PC. If it's cheaper on Xbox, you'll see me play it there. If it's
Mm-hmm.
better on PlayStation, you'll see me play it there. Why? Because it's where the game is. It doesn't matter to me what console it's on. If there's only one piece that matters to me, it's probably the controller. I'm a Mr. Offset sticks kind of guy. So that's fine. But like, I put 88 hours into Forbidden West. Loved every minute of it. Loved that game, right? There's no reason for all the ridiculous name calling and me and Everborn go back and forth on that all the time. He keeps his ear to the Twitter streets. I'm like, it's just too tiring. I may listen in from time to time, when somebody like Eternal Umbra's in there creating a good positive energy space, but more often than not, I stay away from that stuff. You know.
I heard that. Yeah, I dabble. I hop in some spaces. I'll give my 2 cents or whatnot, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy being in spaces when it's like, even when people are arguing, as long as they're like, saying
Substantive.
something. Yeah, yeah, some
Yeah.
substance to it.
Substantive
Like
arguments.
that's
That's
fine.
fine. Yes.
But when you're calling each other names and stuff like
Mm,
that, like I'm out. I'm out.
exactly.
But let's go the
Yeah.
opposite direction now. Let's go more of
Mm-hmm.
a positive route because we've been dabbling with this negativity for a little bit
Mm.
now. What is a dream come true within gaming as a whole? Opposite question.
Dream come true for me. Oh, I mean, that's when I reach to my content creator hat, and I go, maybe this is the year where I hit 1,000 subscribers at least. Maybe I get to interview some really cool people. Like 2022 has started off with me. I got Randall Thor on the show, which was a bucket list moment for me. Just being able to chill and talk to Mr. Boomstick Excel on a daily is a great pleasure for me. Maybe this will be the year where I'll be able to invite on some of the ILP. That to me a dream comes true, because we all see people we appreciate, and we aspire to see their. I saw your interview with King David. another great ILP member. We have him on the reel all the time. You know,
He's a really cool guy.
we stand on their shoulders to achieve our dreams because we see them and they inspire us. So dream come true for me would be able to, let them know that, and speak to them, and tell them that individually, and let them know that because of them I am doing what I'm doing for because they've inspired me. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, in the gaming community, as it were, that would be a dream come true, to be able to, hit higher heights, and achieve more greater things. So it keeps giving you that energy to keep going.
Absolutely. I mean, I absolutely hear you with that, because that is one of the main things that keeps me functioning, is just learning from other people,
Yeah.
and making, these kind of intimate settings where I can come and talk to somebody just one on one, kick it, learn what
Hmm.
their background is and whatnot. That was the whole point of this show. Is I love meeting people. I love talking games,
Yeah.
and and that's just how it's always been for me. And now I can actually use a platform to get out and talk to people and whatnot. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. I mean, like the beginning of the show. Where do you think I got that idea of announcing who you were? I got that from ILP,
Mm.
Cognito, the
Hmm. Hmm.
Beast. Like that dude knows how
He is the
to.
king of introductions.
Yes, he knows how to. He knows how to make you feel like
Indeed.
you're at a boxing fight.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
like, so
Very
yeah, I
true.
absolutely took that, and I love doing it, because, I mean, I feel like it's a great way to start the show, and it kind
Hmm.
of gives you a little bit of info on the person, but you're about to find out more, kind of thing.
Very true.
But so that's your dream within
Hmm.
gaming. But what do you enjoy doing outside of gaming?
These days, with the world the way it is, I love hanging out with my family, hanging out with the kids. Always messing with them, enjoying, just spending time with them. Let's see. As you've already also mentioned, I do on the reel with Mr. Everborn Saga. So we are movie and TV people. We critique movies and TV. I love all kinds of media. I watch a lot of stuff. Well, not as much as I want to these days because work always takes over. But yeah, like, when I'm not like getting wasting many hours in Elden Ring, I'm probably watching a very good show, or a movie or something. Now I'm always trying to do something like that. That's how I unwind mentally, or read a book or something.
Okay, okay, simple enough. Is there anything that you'd be comfortable sharing that nobody really knows about you?
I mean, there's nothing really that I haven't shared. I mean, what most folks probably don't know about me is that I'm also somewhat of a musician. That's actually how I got into technology. Learned like digital sequencers and stuff way back when I was a kid, and that led me to, hey, MP2s, which turned into MP3s. Which, I used to DJ when I was as a kid. Studied music in college. I have a guitar back here. I have a saxophone over there, clarinet in the back, piano. I used to, don't play as much as I used to, but you know, at heart, I will always be a musician. So
Yeah, you got some
that's
soul.
most people don't know that. Yeah, used to write music when I was a kid. Used to sing, a bunch of different things. Yeah.
You seem like I don't know if it's true at all, but you seem kind of like a jazz brother.
Sure. I have the ability to appreciate lots of different kinds of music. I was one of those people that when anybody asks you what kind of music you listen to, I go, I listen to everything. And then
Right.
you start digging through the crates and people go, but I don't like this, but I don't like that. I actually listen to everything. I listen to almost everything. Country, not so much. Only
Yep.
one, and even there, you'll find one or two tracks in my playlist that are country, because when I was young, 15, 16 years old, started DJing. And when you'll find out quickly, when you start DJing for a lot of people, you're not always going to get to play music that you want to play. So you better learn to like other kinds of music. So it just kind of developed that way for me. So I am in my heart, it's neo soul and jazz. But you'll find all kinds of things in my CD crate. A big musical awakening for me, believe it or not, was Rock Band. I played so much Rock Band. I love that stuff, the plastic instruments and all that. because it also broadened that different kind of music to so many people, you know. So yeah, I love all that kind of stuff.
Oh man, that's yeah, that's pretty amazing that you play so many dang instruments and stuff like that. That's really cool.
School, when I went to school, you know, it's not actually that. It sounds amazing if you're not a musician or somebody who plays music in general, but when one leads to another. So I started with clarinet, which made saxophone easier, which makes you easier to be able to play, train yourself to play piano because it's the same kind of keys, and you just kind of, you know, float along. The one that was difficult for me, oddly enough, was guitar, and what got me over the hump was. Like I said, I used to love playing rock band. My wife and I still play from time to time. She loves, like, she's not a really gamer, but she loves like plastic instruments, and she'll play rock band with me. So we used to play that a lot. And what transitioned me into wanting to learn guitar, I don't know if you've ever heard of a game called Rocksmith.
Yes.
Plug in a guitar, electric guitar, into an Xbox. I think I even have it on Steam. Like 6 months, 8 months, a year, and I'm playing songs. You know, and I'm doing, and these days with Rock Band being part of the zeitgeist, there are many applications you can do for piano. My daughter's learning to play piano through like a Rock Band, Guitar Hero kind of interface where, you know, the instruments, the notes come down the screen and you press them
Where
in
it's
time
fun.
and all of that. Exactly. So that stuff has kind of got me over the hump, and you know, still keeping my musical brain alive, and all that. Don't use it as much as I used to, but I've always kind of like kept with it. So that's what I still do from time to time when I'm not gaming.
Right. So I only got two more things to ask of
Mhm.
you. But that first one is, do you have any questions at all for me?
Sure. Actually, you know what? The question for you is, what led you to starting this? Because I've seen you around the community. I've seen a couple of the videos here and there, but it seems like you came hot and heavy from being part of the community to saying, "Screw it, I'm starting my own thing. I want to start something." What was the catalyst that was like, okay, people need to hear my voice? Always
So
wanted to
one
know
of the
that.
main catalysts is um, I don't live around any of my friends or family
Mm.
anymore. So like I don't have anybody to, have a regular, I get off of work, have a beer with them,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
or like kick it, or even on the weekends, like going out and chilling with people. I didn't have the ability. I don't have the ability to do that without driving at least like 4 hours in a
Ah, okay,
direction or something like that. So
okay.
like I was like, I might as well start connecting with my people in the Xbox or whatnot, and but new consoles were on its way, and I didn't want to miss out on the PlayStation generation this time because I missed out on the PS3 and the PS4
Mm.
generation because
Okay,
I went
okay.
in all Xbox after I figured out I could play my music, right?
Ah, okay,
So I
okay.
went in
Interesting.
completely Xbox with that. Um, but after the Xbox One generation, when I was seeing all these, great games coming out for PlayStation, I was just
Hmm.
like, all right, I'm done choosing a side. I want both now. So I got myself PS5, Series X, and then I was like, while I'm at it, I might as well make a computer, and I found a 3080.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
Well,
So
wherever you found it, you need to tell others because they're looking for it too.
Micro Center. Go
Oh,
sleep
very
in the
cool.
parking lot. You can get yourself one on
Yeah,
Mondays.
I was lucky that I snagged my 3080 before the whole chip shortage thing started. So I'm sitting here, people asking me money for it. I'm like, no, thank you. I will keep my 3080. I am happy with it. Thank you very
Right?
much.
But yeah, so I felt like, man, I have all this stuff,
Mm.
a few people to talk to every night, but I want to learn about more of the community. I've always been into games, and I used to when I was a little kid. I had the pipe dream of being in the gaming industry.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
So like, another thing I wanted to be honest about real quick is I hurt my back working,
Ah,
pretty
okay.
bad, to the
Okay.
point that I can't really do any heavy lifting jobs anymore.
Mm.
So I decided, like content creating, like this is a good time to do it because I'm not able to do a whole lot. I might as well do what I'm passionate about and able
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's why I'm here doing this kind of stuff now and doing my best to meet people. And, I don't have those crazy credentials or all the knowledge about stuff and whatnot. But what I do have is a really good way of getting to know people, getting on their level and understanding. I've always been really good at customer service and stuff like that. And I can pick up something if you're willing to teach me, and then I can spread it around like wildfire. Like, and just be able to, you teach me something so I can teach the next person or teach the next group how to do it and whatnot. I'm really big about empowering those around you as you were empowered. So if somebody drops some knowledge to me, I want to drop it to as many people as I possibly can to keep us from struggling for no reason. Like, it ain't no secret. And that's what I feel like people do sometimes is this, like I've realized that with some of the people I even met on, like, within the show that I created, that like, there's some people that are out there that are really freaking cool. And then there's some people that are really cool, but they have a facade of not being so cool. And then there's then there's some people that look really cool, but are not that cool. So like, it's just like, how do me as a person just figure out a way just to work with everybody? It's hard to do that, and you can't expect to work with every single person perfectly. But I feel like I'm a really good person at getting people to kind of meet in the middle just for the moment. Like, you don't have to love each other all day, but while you're up in here, we're going to respect ourselves. We're going to respect each other. All right. And we're going to learn from each other today.
And everyone can kind of rally around the idea of gaming, very passionate. Like you're saying, it's not even about the credential. Like, the more you start talking to people, the more you realize, oh, this guy's a banker, this guy's this guy does this, and not everyone has the highest of credentials, and it doesn't matter, because as we've discussed, you could be a doctor and being a fool in your operating table, you could be a dude, you could be a dude that just works what's considered a menial job, but you're very intelligent and you're able to bring people together or whatever. That's all that matters, man. It's great that you're doing stuff like this. This is I've watched a couple of the episodes. I watched the King David episode as well. Very, very well thought out, very interesting. Keep it up. I really appreciate the niche you're carving for yourself in this gaming space.
What I want to ask that doctor is, how do you go to school for 10, 15, 20 years and you still stupid?
It's amazing. It's amazing, right? It's amazing.
So
that's why I'm like, get that dude out of there. Get him out of there.
Yeah, you made a really good point about the whole credential thing, because this dude is making buku dollars.
Right? Yeah.
He still can't think straight.
You'd think a person like him would know better, right? Like, you'd think, just a thought. But hey, and he's 52. He where I'm from, you're taught to respect your elders. I got these grades, but I'm not quite 50. I'm not even there. I'm 41 right now. I see somebody like that. That's a person to be respected. And then you say something and do something so stupid, like get that dude out of there. Like, what's going on?
That's my get their mans out of here.
Like, seriously, don't hurt him or nothing, but he deserves to feel the pinch in the pocket, because he definitely did something stupid here.
Yeah. Verbally stoned. There you go. Verbally stone him. Don't stone him literally.
Don't stone him literally.
Yes. Just give him the business in, like.
That's right.
Maybe,
get rid of him and call him a fool for a long time.
I'm not going to advocate on anybody like losing their like income or whatnot, but I am definitely advocating for some sort of like suspension or like, I mean, if you did something like that up in America or whatnot, you are done. Your career is over. Yes.
I work in an environment where patients' data is important, HIPAA violations and this and that. I was like mouth agape when I saw that thing. I'm like, he must not live in these United States. We're talking the company you work
before he walked out the building.
Dude, like you'd be done. Like, the company would get rid of you because, man, what you just did will cost them millions. Like, what? What did you do? Like, get out of here with all that. Oh, yes. Absolutely hilarious.
Yes. Okay. So the last thing I'm gonna have you do, or did you have any other questions? I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Please go ahead. Next question. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, this is the last thing. This is the closer that I do every episode. I'm gonna have you describe gaming for me in just 3 words.
Wow, that's difficult. Gaming in 3 words. I would say what? Let me think about that one. Huh. 3 words. I would say, hmm. Wow, that is very difficult. What are some answers you've gotten before while I think about it? Because that's a difficult thought.
I've
That's a
gotten
difficult
stuff
thought.
as simple as it's really fun.
Uh-huh.
And then I've had people that will use like specific words like entertainment,
Sure.
enjoyment,
Okay. Okay.
love,
Okay.
and like
Okay.
it really kind of depends on however
Sure.
you
Okay. Well,
want
all
to
right. Then
paint it.
I'll approach it from that aspect. Then okay. So my 3 words: passion, because gaming inspires passion. Right. I'd say passion is one of them because for better or worse, passion definitely. Right. I would say gaming inspires like people are on the lookout for victory. Right. Like there are people who spend their days just trying to beat that boss or whatever. Like Elden Ring being a prime example, and community because you find your right group, and even if you're isolated in the world, or like you're saying, you may not necessarily have close friends that are in your vicinity, but through gaming you can have a really good community. So those are my three. I'd say passion, victory, and community.
Mm, I like victory. That sounds fantastic. But the one that probably means the most to me, which is the reason I do this show, is community.
Mm.
100%. Like, I mean, what is gaming really if you can't really talk about it to nobody? I mean, back in the day, I remember, like back in the Sega days, original
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation days, even before then, Atari and stuff like that. Like gaming wasn't really for everybody. It was for the kids, but the adults played it quietly. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
like the adults didn't want to go to work and talk about what game they're playing because they get looked at like they're a child or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, you got adults in esports and you got adults coaching teams in esports that
Yeah,
used to be
true.
big
Very true.
time gamers. Like Amon Green, he's an
Mm-hmm.
esports. He's a big time esports guy. I think for like Rocket League or probably several different games. You know how
Mm-hmm.
those guys do. They just coaching all over the place. But yeah, very big deal.
Yeah, I
Community is
completely agree.
massive to me.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's it, you guys. I appreciate everybody that came by and stopped by the show to say what's up. I appreciate everybody in the chat as well. Very good. Make sure you guys hit that like button, share it out to friends and family so you can see more of these awesome people throughout this gaming community. Subscribe if you like the kind of show, and also remember, like Boom says, to treat everybody good. Treat everybody good. Treat yourself good. Treat your friends, your family good. Treat the people that you don't particularly like good, because you never know what will happen down the line. You never
Indeed.
know how that will benefit you later on. But I appreciate y'all, everybody, for coming in. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful night.